No! Voss!
What's going on, Reject Nation? Greg and John here. As you can see, I finally got my new Rockstars Vision shirt. Yippee! And of course, it's the day after putting up our Wandavision episode 8 reaction, so we gotta check out Eric Voss's Easter eggs and breakdown video. Before we go into that, gotta give a huge thank you to today's video sponsor, whom I first heard about from New Rockstars, and that is Manscaped.
And if you didn't know, Manscaped makes the finest men's grooming products in all the land, especially when you need to shave you know where.
Your balls! Say it, John, your balls!
Your balls.
Manscaped is making trimming and grooming easier and safer than ever with their new and improved Lawnmower 3.
This thing has Manscaped's skin-safe technology to keep you from goring yourself in the shower while you reach for those hard-to-reach places.
Balls!
This thing reduces cuts and nicks, and it's waterproof so you can shave in any weather.
Especially for our female subs. They also offer their Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant, along with a lovely toner mist.
Not to mention nail clippers, they got ball wipes, they got a nose trimmer, they got t-shirts.
T-shirts for your balls! Manscaped literally sent us their whole line of products. Way too much to feature all right here. And I can't show my balls on camera. But if you want to get started, we highly recommend the Performance Package.
I've had the Performance Package since 2.0 and it's got all the Manscaped essentials. It's got the lawnmower, it's got the ball deodorant and toner. They've even thrown in the weed whacker now for your nose and ears. So that's more than I got when I did it.
So check out our link in the description box and use promo code REAL20, R-E-E-L, to save 20% on your order plus free shipping on Manscaped's Performance Package 3.0. Let's do this.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, and this is a breakdown of WandaVision episode 8, a trip through history that probably broke your heart somehow. I'm here for you. We're gonna go back through this episode frame by frame for all the visual details and
so far.
Latin you need translated, and the increasingly hopeless fan theories that you need evidence to justify. Here we go.
Yes,
episode titled
MEPHISTO.
Previously On, so we gotta start in the Previously On segment. The audio mix boosts the violent hits of Wanda's past, the blocks, Thanos' backhand, the prying of the stone from Vision's head. Just a reminder that Wanda's past has been brutal. She has suffered so much, but all this suffering is so that she can learn a key lesson about grief, that it is actually love persevering. You'll notice the Marvel title card fades to purple, the color of Agatha Harkness, as we open on this Salem witch trial. Sort of like Agatha's in the comics, but here, trial by witches. When your own coven doesn't want you, you know you f***ed up. Leading this coven is Agatha's mother, Evanora Harkness, wearing the brooch. Its three figures resemble the three graces of Greek mythology, though given this is a coven, it could reflect the three witches of Macbeth or the three fates of Greek mythology, which does connect with Agatha plucking Wanda's hair to represent Wanda's lifeline. Evanora accuses
Good above your age and station. I did not break your rules. They simply bent to my power.
This is similar to Stephen Strange, who learned sorcery too quickly and fast-tracked himself to Sorcerer Supreme by reading forbidden texts on
tying in.
Forbidden textbook was The Darkhold, a book many of us believe is actually from the Camartage Library, with its hexagonal slots, though that open slot visible in the Doctor Strange movie was not for The Darkhold, it was the Book of Cagliostro, which was just not there in that shot.
Yeah, guys.
No, I cannot control it.
Roughly translating to death to the monster of nature. So this means they view her as a freak of nature that needs to be put down, a natural threat that is beyond witch cultural norms. It's also notable that their spells are in Latin. Most spells found in real world.
You know,
look, we're all witches.
You're freaking out the witches.
But you're kind of freaking out the witches.
You're concerned about your behavior.
You're something else.
Right?
You're something else, Agatha. I don't know.
We all like a good sacrifice. We all like a good midnight incantation.
We all like a good
this
smell.
Is a little much.
Too far. All right, you're a freak. Agatha probably looked at them and said, "It's because of people like you I was afraid to go to school as a child." Mutant tie-ins!
Oh!
Most spells found in real-world tomes are in that language. And I see this as tying the MCU's witchcraft to Christian medieval history, which means all that fire and brimstone of Christian dogma could come with it. Agatha's purple magic.
That's why Zack Snyder's got to jump in here, man.
Seemingly
That's
without
right.
her control, as if an independent sentience is protecting her. And so she's able to drain the life force from the others. And notice how that magic rests in her palms in a mix of purple and blue, suggesting she has the power of all 9. And these also become the 2 colors that are reflected in her purple and blue wardrobe at the end of the episode. Evanora's blue magic forms this crown around her head.
Yeah, what is that?
Agatha does not gain when she drains her mother. Though in Wanda's vision of her future as the Scarlet Witch, her tiara does appear on her head. This might tell us what Agatha wants from Wanda, the crown that is worn by the dominant witch.
Oh, dude, you saw that early.
Good catch.
Do kind of parallel
I believe you.
Warrior Falls, where royals do fight for that throne, which interestingly is also passed along via a kind of purple-colored sorcery. And Agatha leaves us in a trail of purple magic that dissolves into the
Purple
rabbit.
universe?
No, I know. She does look shocked to meet the real us.
So last week, I wondered if Senor Scratchy could be Nicholas Scratch, Agatha's son, transmuted into Pietro. But after this, I am now back to my first instinct that this rabbit could be Agatha's husband, Ralph. We know this rabbit is important, folks. Agatha says the real us? She feeds him an insect, which he gobbles up, despite rabbits being herbivores. He sits right beside
Doesn't
the
make sense,
dark hole. Notice how Wanda cannot look away from this rabbit in this moment.
I need you.
The rabbit's eating a freaking bird, that's why.
Yeah, it's a little much
on
to
this
see.
rabbit later. She points out these runes that are protection spells. One has this M shape, which you could see Agatha's house here as a House of M within the House of M inspired story that this is. And she explains.
Whoa, wait a minute. Those look pretty similar.
Yeah, you know, the at least
I mean, they're both just M's with different shapes around them.
You know,
I got a little overexcited.
M's look like other M's.
And she explains fake Pietro or Fietro.
That was you.
No, it wasn't literally me. Just my eyes and ears.
All right, Eric, tell us what this is all about.
Possession. Necromancy was a non-starter since your real brother's body is on another continent.
90s slow
So
down.
earlier this week, Kevin Feige said Evan Peters' casting was, to use his words, just another way that certain people were messing around with Wanda. Yeah, I'm sure the Fox Quicksilver fans will accept that. It's also interesting how Feige said certain people, another hint that Agatha might not be working alone. Agatha also confirms that she did not create the hex, but just rather crashed the party that Wanda started.
I sensed this place. So many spells cast all at once. I couldn't make heads or tails of it.
Which begs the question, if she could sense the hex, shouldn't also the Sorcerer Supreme, Dr. Strange, be able to sense it?
Steve, where are you?
He could be on his way. And she controls the cicada.
Imperio.
In Latin, roughly, I have control of the animal. Look, Latin heads, I know it doesn't match up. It's hard to hear exactly what they're saying and they don't give subtitles. And then she transmutes the cicada into a bird. Which roughly in Latin, transform your appearance. And then she uses Wanda's hair to project her back into her memories.
I gotta say, man, it's putting it in Latin versus English is so much cooler. Because if you just say that shit in English, that's just poor dialogue.
I'm controlling you.
Yeah, it's like, what dumb exposition lines are these?
Show, don't tell, please.
Remember.
Which literally, I think, is just remember memory. And remember, Doctor Strange similarly plucked one of Thor's hairs out of his head to Loki Odin back in Ragnarok. But here, the hair extends into this lifeline, bisecting this door with 9 circles, which might reflect those 9 members of the Coven. Agatha, Evanora, and 7 others. They could also reflect the 9 circles of hell in Dante's Inferno, in which Dante and Virgil traverse and observe each ring of hell. The bottommost layer is frozen like Sokovia is. But listen to the music as they
At first I was like, that's a cool pull, but that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, those cello notes sounds a lot like the tragic porch theme from the end of Infinity War, moments after Wanda lost Vision and dusted into the void. So we find out what the sitcoms are all about. The Maximoff family love to watch sitcom DVDs instead of, oh, I don't know, fleeing the country. So what do we got here? I Love Lucy, Bewitched, Addams Family, Who's the Boss, I Dream of Jeannie, Malcolm in the Middle. Well, this was in 1999. Malcolm in the Middle season 1 didn't come out on DVD until 2002. Oh, shut up. This is sweet. And notice what her mom does.
Hey, alternate universe DVD.
That is the Sokovian greeting that Wanda and Vision brought up jokingly in episode 1.
That this is the traditional Sokovian greeting of hospitality. Guess who?
Oh, is that my host behind me?
It certainly is.
Dude!
That's awesome.
Brilliant, because that was such a funny ad that it's so Covian.
Coming out of her subconscious.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Coming out of her subconscious.
That is, I would never have picked that up.
Nope.
My goodness. That seems very intentional. First episode, first memory. That's beautiful. And dark and super sad at the same time.
Breaking all over again.
So Wanda singles out her favorite TV episode as The Dick Van Dyke Show, Season 2, Episode 21, It May Look Like a Walnut. Now, technically, that's the 20th episode of that season, but the DVD set reorders it to number 21. But this isn't just any episode, folks. In this episode, Rob watches a scary sci-fi TV program about aliens and glowing walnuts, about people losing their thumbs because the aliens don't want humans to be able to make technology that can threaten them. And then he wakes up in a Twilight Zone scenario in which this seems to have come true. This is exactly what Westview is for Wanda. It is a classic sitcom that also has elements of the Twilight Zone that seems to be weirdly obsessed with flying saucers and aliens. And with Hayward seems to be connected to a plot about playing God with tech out of paranoia of alien threats. And meanwhile, their descriptions of this genre
Dick Van Dyke's one episode
Wandavision itselp.
inspired
It's the key to all this.
Dick Van Dyke's one episode.
Dick Van Dyke created the hex. Hey man, I've seen some pretty wild theories about Dick Van Dyke's gonna show up.
I would love Dick Van Dyke to be the major character. She comes out tap dancing.
Hey man, I'm for it. Let's do it.
Connected to a plot about playing God with tech out of paranoia of alien threats. And meanwhile, their descriptions of this genre match the genre-bending aspect of WandaVision itself, along with where this show might be going.
Shenanigan is like problem, but more silly than scary, but can sometimes be a little scary.
A silly mischief that always becomes fun.
By the end of the episode, you realize it was all a bad dream.
But then, boom, you looking for this, the home gets bombed, and then we see that Stark Industries bombshell feet away, the story they told in Age of Ultron, and of course it beeps.
Lock the
same
toaster.
sound effect and
Lock
blinking
the
red light
toaster.
as that Stark toaster in the commercial.
Those are not the parents.
No.
But interestingly, this bomb failed to detonate not by chance, but rather Wanda using a probability hex. One of Wanda's chaos magic powers in the comics, and a major detail confirming that Wanda's powers did not come fully from the Mind Stone, but existed in a lower powered form from birth, meaning this is in her DNA. She's got a mutant gene, folks. But then notice behind the bomb, Dick Van Dyke.
It's so true because, man, we're not even like halfway through. So, that's, I mean, people were pointing that out in the comments of our last video. Something that we didn't address because I was like, oh, it's cool. She's got the magic powers from the beginning, but I didn't even think about how mutant DNA usually occurs around the age of 10, if I'm not mistaken, some 10 to teenage years.
X is 10.
Yes, she's 10. She's 10 in this flashback, according to what they said in Age of Ultron. Yeah, that would be a great mutant tie-in without having to say it, but obviously setting the groundwork for it.
Absolutely.
You'd think Evan Peters was setting the groundwork for it, but no, this is.
She's got a mutant gene, folks. But then notice behind the bomb, Dick Van Dyke says on the TV. And I am legally obligated to point out every mention of the word nightmare just because nightmare ends up being in this. Then to the Hydra lab, where Wanda tells Agatha,
We wanted to change the world.
started as a political ideal, but Wanda is now capable of doing this literally. And then I love this transition. The camera pulls back into the chamber, but just kidding, we're actually seeing a mirror surface, but no camera reflected in that mirror. I keep mentioning references to Contact in these breakdowns, but this impossible mirror shot is also a famous maneuver from that movie. It's one of my favorite shots ever in movies. And in that scene,
That is a
that was
great
flashback
shot.
to a
Holy
childhood
shit.
trauma, just like this is for Wanda. Now, this Mind Stone oddly seems to select Wanda. It washes yellow radiation over her, and her eyes reflect the silhouette of her future form, or maybe an alternate reality form. Either way, a true Nexus being, the Scarlet Witch. This actually could be the figure we saw briefly in Wanda's eyes at the end of episode 6, the moment she hexpanded and for the first time threatened this universe with a House of M style rewrite. And then when they try to play back the video, it glitches from right before to right after, just like the editing glitches later in Westview.
Her first experience editing.
But this also happens in the movie Contact.
She's been practicing
when
all this
external
time.
video skips over Ellie's trans-dimensional trip. Seriously, is that damn cameo gonna be Jodie Foster? Wanda watches an episode of The Brady Bunch with Cindy Brady's doll. This is the same doll Vision practiced diaper changing on in
Oh,
episode 3,
yes!
and onto the Avengers compound. Again, listen to music.
Oh, Wanda, moving on up. So where are we now?
I just gotta stop really quick. I mean, that is so crazy to know, like, even some of these gags, these bits that were in the first few episodes, when audiences were like, where's this show really going? Are we just gonna stay in sitcom land forever? To find out, not only is it just imbued with the DNA of her character of like, oh, she grew up watching sitcoms, it was her escapism, but even these little details, like the Sokovia greeting, like the doll that, I'm sure, maybe there's even more to come in this breakdown, but that's just so neat that they were more than just funny little gags. They were actual tie-ins to specific memories.
Yeah, the more we see of these, the more it seems like nothing is incidental.
Yeah.
Avengers compound.
Yeah, that music is a dark version of the classic Avengers theme. This is set around the time of Civil War, when she was under lockdown and getting to know Vision, making some pepper cash together. She watches an episode of Malcolm in the Middle where the roof collapses on Bryan Cranston, maybe reflecting how Wanda's hex begins to collapse as the decades progress into that era. And then Vision gives us the amazing line, really the reason these two weirdos are able to fall in love.
But what is grief? If not love, persevering.
Agatha wipes it
every
here.
time.
Now, this might be more sarcasm,
My heart
but
flutters.
Wanda isn't looking at her. I think Agatha connected to that. She is so desperate.
Come on, Wanda. You're on the precipice. You're right there.
Who wouldn't connect
Tell
with
me
it?
how you did it. Vision was gone, but you wanted him back.
I wanted him back.
And notice Agatha's face as Wanda leaves.
I hope she gets an Emmy
witch
nomination.
is going through something. I believe Agatha
Elizabeth
lost
Olsen.
someone she loved, and that is why she was so genuinely emotional when she heard Wanda could raise the dead.
You can do that?
So at Sword HQ, Wanda looks in at Hayward through the monitor, just like she did via the drone camera in episode 5. Behind the desk is a star map. Front and center is Gemini, the twins, like Wanda, Pietro, Billy, and Tommy. And notice how Hayward calls Vision the Vision, which is also how it's listed on the deed. Nice to see the MCU use the like in the comics. And then Hayward shows Wanda Vision's parts. Bit hard to watch. The wiring pulls apart with a slick sound, as if it was sinew and muscle tissue. And then under that skin,
Hexagons.
it looks like some hexagonal tissue there. So why did Hayward wait to dismantle Vision until now? If Vision has been dead for years, did he fear that the return to Vision?
I just gotta say, I got this shirt and I paid for a custom text that's supposed to say something about hexagons. I wrote it in myself.
Voss, fix this.
Yeah, this is, I know you're running the
I know
Epic
you're
Hero Shop,
printing the
aren't
shirts. I know you're editing the videos, you're writing the videos.
You do it all, right?
You
It's all
do
you.
everything.
It's all
You
you.
got no help
personally.
over there.
Vision has been dead for years. Did he fear that the returned Avengers would try to seize the parts? Did Wakanda not release the body until Shuri and T'Challa blipped back? Well, take a step back and look at this scene. The sword texts are sloppy, yanking Vision apart like an old car.
Discount
he is a $3
shield.
billion sentient weapon, and this looks like Tim the Toolman Taylor's garage. And then
Tim
Hayward
Allen's
basically
a
shows his
cameo.
cards.
Are you sure?
Excuse me?
Not everyone has the kind of power that could bring their soulmate back online. Forgive me. Back to life.
And throughout this, he is watching Wanda closely with a bit of hopefulness, and he tells his men to stand down. Yeah, clearly this is all a show by Hayward. He wants Wanda to take this corpse. Over the past years, he has been trying to reboot Vision thousands of times to no avail. And now that Wanda Maximoff's back, he is butchering Vision, trying to incite Wanda into snatching the body and using her sorcery. Hayward hopes to bring this back online. And when Wanda leaves without Vision's corpse, he's disappointed. He lies to Monica saying that Wanda did, while throwing Monica at Westview, hoping for a sample of Wanda's magic.
Okay, but I don't know if this is something that we'll know now, or maybe we'll find out in the next episode. This can't have been his plan from day one. I completely agree that that's everything he wanted to do, as brought up in our reaction, but did he just improvise this on the spot when she showed up? That's why there was such a delay with letting her in the room. Like, he must have made this kind of impromptu decision to let her test this out to see if maybe if she's here, maybe she could bring him back. Or did he always want to bait her into coming by?
I gotta imagine that, you know, he's had that speech about, like, you know, we were here while you guys got snapped away and whatever, so I would imagine that maybe he figured that once the blip happened, like, okay, I've got another option back on the table or something like that with Wanda.
Yeah, because it's kind of interesting that he would wait. They've had Vision's body for years, so they could have been disassembling it for quite a long time.
Yeah.
So did they decide to just only recently start to disassemble it in hopes of luring Wanda back, or have they just been trying to get this working for forever? Because it seems like pretty new that they just started doing this.
The disassembling seems like it just started.
Yeah.
I wonder if maybe that is due to knowing Wanda's out there and whatever.
Yeah.
But I have to imagine he's been working for years on at least trying to get Vision back online.
Throwing Monica at Westview, hoping for a sample of Wanda's magic, which he gets eventually with that Stark drone, getting the fuel for his Project Cataract to reboot Vision, giving us White Vision in the post-credits scene. White Vision is from the Vision Quest comics in the West Coast Avengers series in the 80s, where the Avengers are trying to reassemble Vision's body. The visuals of him on the different tables actually look very similar, but because Vision does not have the same brainwaves that he used to have, he comes back in this soulless white form. In the comics, there's a lot of other characters involved with this, from the Grim Reaper to Wonder Man to Hank Pym to even the Human Torch, and technically Immortus, who is the same person as Kang the Conqueror. Seems like WandaVision might not bring in any of them. Hayward is really just a government villain who wants superheroes he can control as weapons, and the fact that White Vision has a Stark-esque arc reactor in his forehead where the Mind Stone would be echoes the way Tony Stark tried to do this, which led to the folly of Ultron and the saving grace of the true Vision. This plan is why Hayward here ultimately just puts a price tag on Vision.
But I cannot allow you to take $3 billion worth of vibranium just to put it in the ground.
See, what I'm thinking is that the White Vision thing is more in tribute to White Vision. I don't feel like they're going to be adapting the storyline from it. Like, let's aesthetically make him look like it, have some of that after being reassembled type of dealio. Yeah, I completely get it. I think that's all in tribute to White Vision, but I don't think they're going to be going that path. I think they're going to have him be a little bit more sentient weapon Vision.
Yeah, just more straight to the action, less anything intellectual.
But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. That's just kind of the hunch I'm getting. Yeah. That way you really distinguish between the Vision that Wanda's created and then the ultimate evil plan, or not evil plan, but plan that Hayward had that is really messed up, that will completely go wrong. You know, that plan just has to go wrong. And then you mesh them together, right? Hopefully, Wanda's Vision can just go into
all that
Vision.
Mind Stone juju can go into White Vision, brings color back.
To put it in the ground.
But if you think about it, that is exactly where the vibranium belongs. The vibranium that made Vision was stolen from the soil of Wakanda. Meanwhile, Wanda's plan, it seems like, was to try to bury Vision in that plot he bought for them in Westview, New Jersey. Right. But you think about it, when did he get that deed? He must have done it before they went on the run after Civil War in 2016. He is essentially a guy who got an engagement ring after the first date. In the words, a creep. And then Wanda says here,
okay.
Which, of course, is a callback to Infinity War, when Wanda used her magic in the earlier scene to sense Vision's soul from that Mind Stone. And these were also his final words to her before she destroyed that stone at the end of the movie. And heading to Westview, Wanda drives a red car. It's got a license plate reading Excelsior, which, of course, is just the New York State motto. It's on all these plates. But also, it is Stan Lee's catchphrase. Yep. We see John Collins, a.k.a. Herb, Sharon Davis, a.k.a. Mrs. Hart, Dennis the Mailman, a.k.a.
I love this edit. I love this edit.
Pizza time.
Pizza time!
A.k.a. Jones, he puts up an ad for piano lessons. Remember, he played it at the talent show until it was flattened.
That was my grandmother's piano.
And on the deed, Vision's note is outlined in a heart, like the date on the calendar in episode 1, the heart they could not remember the meaning of. His address, 2800 Sherwood.
I didn't even realize
Schwartz,
that.
The producer of The Brady Bunch and a bunch of other sitcoms. And it is signed off by the name Kate Weddle, who is an assistant art director on WandaVision. And in her grief, Wanda uses her sorcery to construct this dream home. The house builds...
Oh, wait, we gotta pause that. The whole thing with the heart. Yeah. Because I remember that being such... I haven't rewatched any of the WandaVision episodes. I remember that being part of like, yeah, what's this all about? What does the heart mean? It was like, oh, just a confusion of date. Again, seeming like it's just another gag setting up a traditional sitcom plot. I didn't even piece that together. That is so heartbreaking.
It's like right in the center of the calendar. It's right in the center of the deed.
That is devastating.
Heartbreaking.
You're late, John. I said it. I was waiting. I didn't even listen to anything you were saying after I said the words heartbreaking.
Punchline, like, John.
What?
Punchline.
You're supposed to go, oh, and then you just started talking.
Here for a
punchline.
punchline.
Too late. too late. Comedy is all about time.
House builds in jigsaw chunks, interestingly, evoking the puzzle pieces of Joe Quesada's puzzle pieces. And this hex spreads like a wave, a reversal of Wanda's admission earlier to feeling like she was caught in the wave, getting toppled over and over. Now she is a seismic event that spreads the wave outward. The Westview Dairy billboard reverts from the red carton.
You know what it kind of reflects too? When Quicksilver died in Age of Ultron and she had the breakdown falling moment. Someone told me that over the phone yesterday.
Secret Easter egg from above.
Event that spreads the wave outward. The Westview Dairy billboard reverts from the red carton modern one to the old-timey bottles, just like Wanda's glitching milk last episode. And then over on the right, a new ad for Lagos paper towels make cleaning up a snap. Like, you know, the snap that Thanos did. The movie theater marquee changes from Tannhauser Gate, a nod to Blade Runner. That was the warp station referenced in the amazing Tears of Rain monologue. But now it reads Big Red and Kidnapped, the way these town residents are essentially kidnapped in a big red hex. And inside the house, Wanda recreates Vision solely out of yellow magic, due to her magic being amplified by the yellow Mind Stone. And in the TV reflection, you can see Vision's Mind Stone is the last part of him to form. This means that the Vision in Westview is resurrected purely from Wanda's magic and has no corporeal counterpart. Yet he is still real inside the hex, because remember, Hayward was able to track his vibranium decay. All this means that as a Nexus being, Wanda isn't just creating illusions, she's creating real, tangible, alternate reality. And then in the TV studio behind the stage lights is the year 2013, which does anchor this final Modern Family sitcom year as the year 2013, even though on the outside world it is 2023. And then outside, final scene, Agatha restrains Billy and Tommy on these choke leashes.
You have no idea how dangerous you are. You're supposed to be a myth, a being capable of spontaneous creation. Here you are, using it to make breakfast for dinner.
Which calls back Wanda failing at Agnes's recipes in episode 1 and just improvising breakfast for dinner. But now looking back on it, those complex recipes provided by Agnes might have actually been spells from the Darkhold that Agatha was using to test Wanda. This is why Agatha's so frustrated that rather than following the basics like she had to, Wanda could just skip that textbook. And Agatha ends with,
"This is chaos magic, Wanda, and that makes you the Scarlet Witch."
This is the first for 2 terms in the MCU, chaos magic, which is of course the type of magic Wanda uses in the comics, the reason she can chaotically rewrite the universe as a Nexus being, and then of course her basic superhero name, Scarlet Witch, never been said before in the MCU. And now it's in this interesting context, is being elevated as a kind of royal title that Agatha seeks. But why does Agatha want it? What does Agatha want? Well, again, Agatha seems to have lost someone she loves, and she's frustrated that she can only do basic spells like animal transmutation, while Wanda just has this innate power.
400 years later.
And who would Agatha love? Well, as a witch of Salem, folks, read up on your history. It's not reaching to assume this witch would claim her spouse to be the devil. Yeah, folks, I'm going down with the ship. Because it's best evidence
Don't do it.
Argument. Agatha's husband, Ralph, is Mephisto,
Don't
aka
quit
Cinder
here.
Scratchy the Rabbit, a reference to Old Scratch, a nickname for the devil. This rabbit is the best Agatha could do to bring
stand
him
with
back
Eric
from the
Voss.
Darkhold. This is a rabbit, remember, she bragged as having star potential.
Senor Scratchy's got real star quality, don't you think?
It was his demonic protection that allowed Agatha to overthrow the coven, but doing that broke his soul, because Agatha was not the Scarlet Witch that he thought she was. She did not get the crown. And as in the West Coast Avengers comics, this series is now definitely based on, evidenced by White Vision. Mephisto's soul is broken in those comics. Agatha helps him manipulate Wanda using pieces of his soul to create Billy and Tommy, later shown to be hand puppets of Mephisto's minion. And now, Agatha puppets these boys like marionettes on strings. Notice as she does this, her fingers turn black, suggesting that these illusions are actually draining some of her life force. These kids were just called Demon Spawn, and that was not long after.
Devil's in the details, Bev.
That's not the only place he is.
What does Agatha want? She wants the Nexus powers of the Scarlet Witch. She was unable to get them from her mother, and she wants them now from Wanda so that she can repair Mephisto's soul. Together, they can rule the multiverse. A power that the rest of her coven thought no one should harness. I know. It seems like the Bettany cameo tease might have been just him trolling us, but I am gonna place my bets on Mephisto showing up in the finale. He's gonna be played by an actor so beloved, no one's gonna care that he's been off screen all season, or how
John
here it is. The
Lithgow.
MCU has Satan in it.
It'd be good.
And no,
It'd be
China
good.
censorship does not actually apply here. We did a whole video on why. Check
Yeah,
it out.
let's do
So
it.
Mephisto, you are clear for landing. We are so close. And don't you dare pull a DB Cooper on us. Hey, you can support this channel by checking out one of our wonderful merch options at newrockstarsmerch.com, like this an unusual couple shirt. And of course, follow me.
Maybe I'll get one.
My vision's brighter than his.
Yeah, that's the consolation for not getting the custom hexagon text.
Brandon's got to black.
I gotta say, man, every time I'm like, all right, you know what?
Giving up.
I guess Mephisto ain't coming back.
Giving up on Mephisto.
I guess he ain't coming in. You pull some shit that just fucking like, oh man, he's right. Maybe, every single time it happens there. And then it's like and this is even more innate and more detailed, more tied in than before, to the point where I'm like, oh crap, there's one more episode left. I think he's got it. I think he's got it.
and it's got me thinking back now, because like in that prologue scene of this episode, there is that thing they charge her with, like, engaging in some kind of dark ritual that's like way worse than anything they've been up to. And I'm like, that's probably got to be summoning the devil or making a deal with him or something.
Yeah.
Or a devil of the MCU.
I believe him. I mean, all those times, especially at the end there, with everything he was saying, you're like, oh crap, he's right. He's right. I'm mainly hoping for you. For you.
We don't need this.
I don't need it. I'd be fine if he doesn't show up.
Your
I'm
credibility
hoping
rides on this.
he shows up. Yes, we'll go down on this ship with you, buddy.
Joe Pesci, Mephisto.
Let's.
Great casting,
That'd be
right?
awesome. All right, guys, what do you think about this breakdown? Please follow New Rockstars. I listen and watch their videos. Like, we usually mainly cover this weekly one, but I listen and watch their videos all throughout the week. I think you guys ought to do so yourself, especially that one about censorship. The one that they did, there's like a 40-minute podcast that they did about censorship. That one was like, yeah, okay, no. Yeah, you're right. Mephisto, witches, they can all show up. All right, guys, we'll talk to you soon. Thank you for being here. Subscribe, click that notification bell, hit that like button. Thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring this video. Last but not least, gotta shout out some people who are pledged to us on our Patreon. Peter Pacheco,
Russell Beattie, Giant Panda King.
Abigail Nelson,
Joanna St. Louis,
Matthew Mensing,
Stephen Mendoza,
Sandrine Little Angel,
Rogue Cree,
Sam Castle,
Sigid94,
Justine Martin,
Kayla Waiters,
Rosie Beatty, Darth Yoda 2012,
Ruby Dynamite,
Philip Jr. Smith Jr.,
Jen Smith,
Brianna Davidson,
Melanie LeBlanc,
Brittany Bayerly,
Natalie Duran.
This just became the bit now.
Yeah. Found the bit.
Erwan Rogier,
Marcus Werdemanen,
Kahasi Gardner,
Tiana
Eva Drazdikova,
Keent McNeat.
Thank you guys so much for respecting our names, and I'm glad we could respect yours as well. Seriously, thanks for being part of our Patreon page. You guys rock. Hopefully you enjoyed the random stuff we post there. Much love, and your support has carried us through many tough times on this channel. Thank you guys.
All the tough times.
Much love. We'll see you guys next month or tomorrow.